Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. The most meaningful spiritual talk. It's not about techniques. It's not about philosophy. It starts when you're born, and in a sense it ends when you die. You have this thing called the time in between your birth and your death. They call it your life. It's not really your life in the sense that everything was here before you got here. It'll all be here after you leave. So it's kind of like your time to dance with life. How's that? Okay? Otherwise you're kind of making it like you're it, but you're not it. You just drop down. But this is very important. There's this time given to you between your birth and your death. It's not given to your parents, not given to your husband, not to your children, not to your boss. That's your time. And if you waste that time, you wasted your life. Okay? It's like anything else. Go to camp and just moan and sit in the corner and cry. There's horseback riding, there's swimming, there's computers. You wasted your time at camp. If you come down here and you don't pay attention that you have a limited amount of time between your birth and your death, and the time in between there, you get to decide what you want to do. Unfortunately, that's not how we live. Most people don't feel they get to decide what they want to do. And they're wrong. Everyone, rich, poor, sick, healthy, married, single, children, no children, it don't matter. Every single person has been given the gift of the time between their birth and their death. The situations, the environment, the occurrences and happenstances that take place outside of them during that time is not under their control, at least very slightly amounts. I mean, if you think you're in control, make Saturn not have rings. Make the moon change its orbit. Make the cells in your body do something different. It's all going on around you. You're a guest that has dropped down into a system that has been going on for 13.8 billion years. The Earth has been here for 4.5 billion. You've dropped down for a few years in between your birth and your death. That's obvious. That's your time. It is obvious that you can't possibly be in charge of everything that's going on. It's going on everywhere. You're in one little spot at a time, right or wrong. How can you be in charge? How can it be about you when it's happening everywhere, all over the earth? It's happening all of space and stars and everything, and you're just in this one little spot. And yet you think it's all about you. It's not about you. It's about itself. Life exists. It goes on. It's been going on for a very long time, and it will go on for a very long time. So the first foundation is you have this time between your birth and your death. That's first. Second, there is a stage on which you are going to play this drama of the time between your birth and your death. The stage is called the stage of life. You're sitting here on a tiny little ball in the middle of nowheres, and you're on a 2 foot by 2 foot square or something, or a 6 foot by 2 foot square, right? And the rest is going on. It rains when it rains, it snows when it snows, it's hot when it's hot, it's cold when it's cold. People are nice when they're nice, they're mean when they're mean. You get fired, you get fired, you get hired when you get hired. I mean, pretty much, it's not all yours. It's not up to you. And so, really, let's make sure we get this right, because they don't tell you this. 99.99999999999% of what's going on in the universe has nothing to do with you. And I probably needed more nines. If you consider the whole universe, 2 trillion galaxies, 300 billion stars in each galaxy, and you're on one planet sitting on one star, how can it have anything to do with you? It has nothing to do with you. It's just going on. If your mind has trouble with that, I'm glad we're talking about it. If your mind has trouble with it, that's the definition of the word ego. That you've just made up a you that's important. It's not important. A grain of sand in the middle of the beach is just a grain of sand in the middle of the beach. A speck of salt in the ocean is a speck of salt in the ocean. Another one of you guys that shows up on the planet Earth and leaves soon, there have been billions of you, wake up. So you are given this time between your birth and your death, and you're going to spend it in a field, an arena, an environment that pretty much has nothing to do with you. Get in a plane and land somewhere you've never been before. Obviously, that place has nothing to do with you. You've never been there before. But that's what you're going to interact with. So you start off, I have this time. The second is I'm not in charge. I know that's tough. I'm not in charge. Right? I know I'd like to be, but I'm not in charge. I can't even control the moments in front of me, not to mention the ones that are not in front of me. So I'm in this universe, in this arena, and I have this time. Then the third one is the big thing. What do you want to do with that time? If you don't ask that question, guess what will happen? Your environment will run your life. If you take a boat and you put it out on a river or a lake or a sea with no oars and you have no idea what's going to go on, who determines where you go? The waves, the current, the weather, the environment. Because you have no direction that you have set sail in. And therefore, just the occurrences that happen in front of you will determine where you go, who you are, what's happening. So the most important thing in your life is to ask, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go in the time between my birth and my death? What do I want to achieve with my life? And if you say to me, I want to achieve building a big building in New York that has my name, when you die, it's the same as if you didn't. It has nothing to do with you. It never did anyways, but certainly once you're dead, you ain't gonna know nothing about that building. Nobody will forget you in no time. You understand that? And just what does it mean if somebody remembers you? Is that the meaning of your life? That when you die, people remember you? What did that do for you? It doesn't mean anything. Well, maybe the meaning of my life is to accumulate as much wealth as I can. Okay, good. Be like the pharaohs. They had a lot of wealth, right? Accumulate, oh my God, so much, right? And then build yourself a pyramid to hold it. Put all the wealth in the pyramid and let the robbers come in centuries later and steal your wealth. And go see, you ain't going with you. You ain't never see it again. So when you look at it in the big picture, which is how you're supposed to look at it, because otherwise you will do nothing with your life. I don't mean nothing. Little things happen. Okay? But not in terms of what did you do with your time here on earth? What did you achieve? What changed? What did you do? All right? That's the big question, isn't it? That's got to be don't tell me, I had a husband. Lots of people had or have husbands or wives. Nice. Nobody says you don't. Nobody says that these things don't happen. They're not the meaning of your life. When you die, you don't have a husband. So the question is, I'll go quickly. What do you want to do? People don't think about it. And we'll talk about why in a second, right? If you choose something that is temporal, if you choose something, first of all, let's start with you don't choose anything, because that's what most people do. Why? Why don't they choose anything? Because they're not okay. They've gotten themselves into a state during this time between their birth and their death where they are suffering inside. They have anguish, they have anxiety, they have worries, they have pain, it's not comfortable in there. Well, if you're not comfortable in there, I'm kind of wasting my time a little bit to say, what do you want to do with your life? Because the answer is very simple. I want to be comfortable. I want to be more comfortable. I don't want to suffer. I want to be a little bit happy. If you can't even get to the point that you're okay, that's what you're going to try to do with your life. I'm going to try to be okay. It's not a bigger picture. Has nothing to do with between your birth and your death. It's kind of a minute-to-minute kind of a situation. How do I survive that my kid got sick? How do I survive my husband's leaving me? Or this is happening? Or I got fired? It's just one thing after another that's causing you trouble inside, and therefore you don't get to choose the meaning of your life. That's how we live, don't we? All right? We just try to survive. Surviving means I don't get hurt too much. It's not a physical surviving. It's a psychological surviving, isn't it? That I can have a few moments that feel nice and a couple of moments peace, and I have lots of moments where nothing's bothering me, or at least the things that are bothering me get taken care of. That's what you do with your life if you are a normal human being. And I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, you're doing the same thing. You're trying to get by. You're trying to be okay. So we got that down. I'm laying the picture for you. So we got this time between your birth and your death, and because you're not okay, you struggle. That's what you do with your life. It's so sad because it's true, isn't it? All right? You know everybody. You know yourself. You struggle to be okay. That is not a high bar. That is not the purpose of your life. I came down here to see if I can be okay and not suffer too much and get by. So I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. If I find you to ask you what you're going to do between your birth and your death, but I happen to find you in the Pacific Ocean in the middle of a tornado and a cyclone and you're drowning, I don't think I need to worry about what your answer is going to be, because it is not going to be very high. It's going to be, help! I'm trying to get help. I'm trying to get some help. All right? The more trouble you're in, the more your trouble decides what you're going to do with your life. But that is not a direction in your life. That's a momentary reaction to the environment you're in. Okay? And you go by your life that way. Is there another way? Of course there's another way. What's the other way called? Spirituality. Are you willing to do better than okay? Are you willing to do better than let the environment that's changing around you throw you around and determine where you are and where you're going? It's as simple as that, because that's what spirituality is. So now that we've talked about low and we've talked about normal, normal's not so good, but you don't want to be normal, all right? Let's talk about what it means to stop once and ask what I want to do in my life. Okay, well, what you're going to find out is at least the common answer where we start is not hard to swallow. It's something that you want anyways. Every single thing you are doing is trying to get higher. You're trying to feel more love. You're trying to feel more secure. You're trying to feel more safe. You're trying to feel more beautiful. You're trying to feel more inspired and turned on. You're trying to achieve a higher state of energy. That's what that is. Love is a higher state of energy. Enthusiasm is a higher state of energy. Passion is a higher state of energy. Freedom, just let your hair down, uninhibited and free. That's a higher state of energy, isn't it? Right? Every single thing you're doing is to try to achieve a higher state of energy. We just all do it different ways and have different experiences with it. But that is what everybody's doing, all right? There are lots of ways to try to do that. What I'm going to talk about is this very weird way called yoga. Why? Because you just defined yoga. Yoga is not asanas. Yoga is not meditation. Yoga is not mantras. Yoga is a science. Yoga is a science, just like any other science. It is a study of how to get high. It is people for thousands of years that have studied the human state inside and out and structured methodologies that will get you higher, guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's all they're about. All they're about is getting higher. Wow. All right? So what does that mean? The way we try to get higher is in relationship to what's messing us up. All right? That's why we're so personal. I have loneliness, so I try to get higher by finding somebody. I have insecurity, so I try to get higher by being popular, wearing nice things and having people say nice things about me. Okay, and I could go on and on with all the things, right? I feel that when I get older, no one will take care of me. So I want to have children and bring them up in a way that they feel responsible for whatever it is. You're just trying to compensate for the problem you have inside yourself. Because the problem you are holding inside of yourself is what's keeping you from feeling high, it works a little bit and it feels good to try to make the outside world in a way that it seems like it's going to take care of what's wrong inside of you. It's going to compensate. If I'm lonely, I don't feel energy. But it's not true that I don't feel energy because I don't have somebody. I don't feel energy because I'm lonely, regardless of somebody or not. The loneliness is blocking my energy. I have energy inside. The loneliness is blocking it. So finding somebody helps me deal with the blockage, helps me deal with the loneliness. It does not get rid of the loneliness, period. You will still feel lonely if they're not around, if they die on you or leave you. I've had people tell me, I just was lonely and I was married for 30 years and when Irv died, I felt lonelier than I did before I ever met him. It's like the loneliness is still there. You know that. The fear of loss is still there. If you don't think you're worthy of love and somebody showers you with love and talks all the time love, and so on, you're waiting until they find out who you really are and they'll realize they don't love you. If you're insecure, you're insecure. You can put something on top of the insecurity and it makes it feel better, but it doesn't get rid of it. And because it is the insecurity, the loneliness, the lack of self-worth, whatever these emotions and feelings are, they are blocking your energy flow. So because you're playing with getting the world in a way that will line up with those things and make them feel a little bit better, you think that the way to get your energy is to do that. And that's the great mistake of humanity. The way to get your energy is to get rid of the blockages. And that's all yoga. True yoga, real yoga, is about understanding I am blocked inside. That's why I feel this way. The problem I have is that I have blocked my energy flow. And now my energy flow is conditional upon things matching my blockages. Being around people that turn me on. What does that mean? They help me open. So I feel the energy inside of me. Being around people that I'm attracted to. Being around people who don't criticize me. Having a job that I look forward to going to. It's all conditional. It's conditioned as to whether these outside situations are going to somehow magically help you with the problem inside of yourself. I just am dry. I don't feel inspired by my job. But I hope someday that something can happen and they give me a job that I'm really turned on by. Everything's dependent upon something outside. Yoga says the problem is inside, therefore the answer is inside. I understand you're blocked. Yes, you're blocked. You have these issues. You don't feel whole. You don't feel complete. You get jealous. You get insecure. You feel lack of love. Yes, yes, yes. I understand all the human stuff that's in there. That is what is blocking your energy flow. In yoga, they call the energy flow Shakti. In other places, they call it Chi. In other places, they call it Spirit. There's energy, but it is blocked by these humannesses that you shove down there and that you're carrying around inside of you. So the first step in deciding what do I want to do with my life, you have one big decision. Do I want to spend my life struggling, manipulating, trying to get situations outside periodically that when they come in, release energy because they match my problems, they match my blockages? Is that what I want to do in my life? You can do it. I try to tell everybody, I'm not judging. I really am not. It doesn't bother me. If that's what you want to do with your life, at least admit, that's what I want to do in my life. I want to struggle first to find out what I need. Now, you're big on the needs things, all right? What you need means what's blocking my energy, so I need something to help release it. The point is I need something to happen outside that makes me do better with the problem I have inside. Devote your life to that. In other words, devote your life to the lowest part of your being. That's your lowest part of your being. The darkness, the problems that you have inside, the things you blocked yourself with, right? I don't feel popular. She's really beautiful. If I could be seen with her, people would really be jealous of me. It would make me feel wonderful. How do I win her? I don't know. I could steal a Ferrari and pick her up in it and tell her it's mine. You hear me? You're just out there trying to take the lowest part of your being, your problems, and try to placate them, try to compensate for them with different situations outside. As terrible as that sounds, that's what everybody's doing. They're all trying to create situations outside, people, places, things, jobs, finances, you name it, whatever it is, body lifts, okay? You name it. They're trying to create situations outside that will influence and manipulate other people, places, and things so that when the interaction comes inside, it makes them feel better, and that's where they get energy, all right? Just learn to be a great rock star. I can imagine being a rock star and standing up there and having the whole Metrodome cheering at you and clapping and screaming, right? People think that's neat. Why? Why would you need that? Why would you even want that? Because it gives me energy. That must be a tremendous energy rush. Then how come all rock stars are on drugs and have worse relationships? Almost all of them, right? Relationships, they divorced 16 times. Doesn't sound so happy to me. That's what you want to do with your life, right? But no, the thought of that much energy is exciting to you. The thought of winning the lottery is exciting to you. The thought of having everybody respect you is exciting. The thought of getting, you hear me? Because you're not okay, and you're not. It's not. It's blocked. It's not. I don't have all this energy right now. I want more. You're looking for ways that will touch the blockages and release energy. All right. So what's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing's right or wrong. The question is, does it work? That's a better question, isn't it? You thirsty? You want to get water? Go suck it out of that rock over there. Is that a sin? You're going to go to hell? No, you're just going to stay thirsty. It's like, it's not wrong. So basically, you're looking at living a life devoting the time between your birth and your death to somehow manipulating, controlling, fighting, struggling, who knows what the heck you have to do. You know how intense it is, how much anxiety it creates and how much pressure it creates to try and have to have the world in front of you to be a certain way so that when it comes in, you feel some energy and at least it's not screwing you up more. Can you relate to that? Do you understand that? What's the alternative? The alternative is to sit there and say, wait a minute. If the problem is that you're blocked, remove the blockages. There. I had to talk so much about the other one. Those are the two ways. You are either spending the time between your birth and your death, struggling every single moment to get things and people, places, and things the way you think they need to be for you to be okay, or you take what they call the high road. You get wise. And you sit there and say, wait a minute. The only thing you're doing is helping me get around myself, right? Like somehow when I'm with you or when I'm doing this or I'm doing that, I feel better. Well, why do you not feel better? Because I'm blocked, right? Why do you feel better in Hawaii than you do in Gainesville? There are people in Hawaii like coming to Gainesville because it's new, because it distracts me, because it's something that pulls me out of my junk that I have inside and it lets me feel more energy. What happens when you come home? I go back to my junk. It didn't change anything. Who's going to be wise enough? So the alternative is to sit there and say, the purpose of the time between my birth and my death is to use that time to remove the blockages that are blocking the energy flow inside, not so I'm renouncing good things, so I'm always feeling the good things. You're not renouncing. If you find that sugar gives you a rush, but then you get sick for the rest of the day, if you stop eating sugar, don't say I'm renouncing sugar. I want the high, but I want it to last. You're going for something higher. I don't like renunciation. You're not giving anything up when you don't take that sugar. You're taking a longer-term approach to sit there and say, if what I'm trying to do is get high, that ain't really doing it. That's a pretty cheap thing, okay? It's the same thing with this. If I'm trying to use the outside to get around myself, I'm going to be doing it forever. Your grandparents are doing it, your parents are doing it. It just doesn't ever stop. You're still doing it. You've been doing it your whole life. So the alternative is to do something amazing, something that works, something that says the purpose of my life is to remove the blockages that are inside of me. Now, you don't know anything about that yet. You don't know why they're there. You don't know how to get rid of them. But at least it's a logical thing to do with your life. If you're a hamster and you're running on that stupid wheel, and you're running and running, there's a bunch of hamsters and wheels in the cage, and you're watching everybody, and that's what hamsters do, and they run. At some point, some hamsters wise enough to say, wait a minute, we're not getting anywhere. We're running and running and running and running, and I'm not sure this will ever get anywhere. Well, what's the alternative? I don't know, but this don't work. And they get off the wheel. Well, at least they have a chance to look around instead of, which is what we're doing. People are doing, right? Just running as fast as you can to go where? Nowheres. And every once in a while, get a little bit of high, a little bit of rush. But it doesn't last. You keep running. So the alternative is to say, I want to remove these blockages. So first, can you? Yes. No, but you want to say, but you don't understand. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what's happened to you. I don't care about your childhood. I don't care how bad your first husband was. I don't care. I don't care. No matter what you did or anyone did to you, those blockages can go. Let's start right there. There's no super glue in there. There's nothing making it stay in there. Here's one of the basic rules about that stuff. If the issue is not happening right now, there is no reason that it's still inside of you. That goes for anything you did. That goes for anything anybody did to you or anything. It's not happening. Well, if it's not happening anymore, why are you letting it be inside of you, screwing up your life? Your parents got divorced when you were 6. It was really a difficult time. Yes, but you're 36. That means it was 30 years ago. I don't understand how something 30 years ago that hasn't happened for 30 years can be bothering you. If it's not happening, it's not happening. So there's no reason that it's in there. And so first you start off with, okay, this other way of life. Let's just take a look at it. Because we know the one way, and we know it doesn't work. How do you know it doesn't work? Because you're still doing it, and you've done it your whole life. this other way, which is say the purpose of my life is to remove the blockages. You devote your life to removing the blockages. That's a spiritual life. That's my motive. Now, what does that mean, that's my motive? It means, really, that just as every moment right now, you're trying to get things the way you think you need them to be and avoid things that you don't want to have. You do it every moment, right? There's not a second that's going on that you're not trying to get it right and worrying and thinking and planning and plotting and doing all that kind of stuff, right? Just as you do that hard, you do this that hard. I'm telling you, it's a paradigm shift. It's a total another way of life. There's a way of life that says the purpose of my life, my entire life, every moment, is to remove these blockages so I can be the one who gets high. How high? You know how high you can get? You can get so high you can't even imagine how high you can get. All right? I told you, you can get so high that you wake up every single morning and you giggle. Not worry or think or have anxiety. You giggle. I'm back. And you go through the entire day, all the time. This is if you got rid of your blockages, right? You go through the entire day and everything stimulates your energy, not your blockages. You don't have any. It all stimulates your energy. A bird takes off. You feel, oh my God, these rushes pour between. Oh my God, it's a bird. It's raining. Oh, the water is falling out of the sky. Every single thing turns you on. Everything. Why? Because nothing's blocking you. It's all amazing. It's just beautiful, beautiful energy pouring inside of you. Yogananda said, there is a river of joy that flows inside of you. He's right. There's a river of joy that flows inside of us. He said, find it, go there, get in, and drown. Yoga means union. That's what that means. Merging the whole of your being into the ecstasy that's pouring inside of you. That's a spiritual life. Your whole being is overcome, not by problems or worries, by joy, by ecstasy. That's what you're capable of. Well, if that's what I'm capable of, why am I putzing around trying to get this person to like me? Why am I putzing around trying to go to Hawaii? Why am I putzing around trying to change jobs? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I playing around with something that's going to, maybe I'll get a drop when there's the ocean inside? That's spirituality. Understand that. It's a complete paradigm shift of your way of life. Does it mean anyone sees that you did it? If you were living that life, though I'm going to describe it to you, people next door neighbor wouldn't know you changed at all. Because it has nothing to do with what you're doing. It has to do with why you're doing it. It's about intent. The Buddhists say that. It's about intent, not about the actual action. So give me an example. What does that mean? Well, here's somebody out there who's trying to have a relationship because they're not okay, and they feel sad, and they feel lonely. It has to be just the right relationship that people are jealous of them because they also feel insecure, and so on. And plus, he or she better have money because they don't feel right about finance stuff. They have a lot of things that they want. In other words, they're out there trying to placate or take care of the problems they have inside themselves. Okay? Somebody else is looking at the problem they have inside of themselves and using the relationship to let go. Not to get, to let go. Not to placate, not to compensate, but literally to sit there and say, well, this person isn't the way I wanted them to be. I need to let go of me. That's what it's about. Letting go of what's blocking you from liking this person. Not trying to get the person to be the way you need them to be so that you will like them. Can I repeat that? Those are totally different relationships. What are you in the relationship for? I'm in the relationship. Somebody might say to somebody, how you doing with your new beau or your new girlfriend? It's a work in process. What in the world does that mean? I'm going to make them over. I'm going to teach them how they're supposed to behave. Teach them how to treat me. Teach them how to dress. Teach them sometimes I need space and sometimes I want to be doted over. Let them figure out to know the difference. You're just going to try and get that person to be the reflection of the problems you have inside yourself. And if they're not, you don't like it. It's not so much fun. You don't like it. That's one way of using a relationship. Another way of using a relationship is to sit there and say, I got problems. You don't have to say it to somebody else. I got problems inside. I've always had problems inside. I don't want to have problems inside. I don't expect you to fix my problems inside. You go about your business, and I'm going to use your business to let go of me. I'm going to let go of my blockages. That's what spirituality is. That's what yoga is. All the time, every time. I'm glad I picked relationships because it's not about renunciation. It's about using every moment of everybody else uses every moment of their life to try to get it the way they want it so they're happy. You, at this point in that paradigm shift, are using every moment of your life to let go of what's making you not happy. You're not expecting the situations or the people, the places or things to do that. You devoted your life to purification. You devoted your life to cleansing. You devoted your life to getting rid of you. Are you willing to let go of yourself? You call it ego, call it whatever you want. It's just basically, there's stuff inside of me that keeps me from being okay. What does it mean to be okay? You should be able to sit at home and bliss out the same as be anywhere else. You be with people, be without people. You don't need anything, okay? You're pure spirit, and spirit is ecstasy. It's Satchidananda, eternal conscious bliss. You are working your way back to self. It's about self-realization. But you can't realize yourself when you're blocked. Why? Because the blockages bother you. You feel lonely, you feel this, you feel needs, you feel attraction, you feel repulsion. All that stuff goes on in there. Spirit doesn't feel that. Spirit feels ecstasy. It feels joy. So you choose which way you want to live your life. Because guess what? It's an all or nothing situation. And people don't like to hear that. There's a line in the Bible that says, the Lord your God is a jealous God. It means it's all or nothing. You can't do it both ways. You can't be feeding the personal self by going out there and letting it do things that it wants to do because it makes it feel better temporarily, and at the same time letting go of the blockages that are making you be like that. But it's not about renunciation. That's why I use an example of a vacation. I use an example of a relationship. I use an example of a job. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is your motive, your intention. Are you standing there in this situation letting go of yourself, or are you standing in this situation feeding yourself? What does it mean to feed yourself? There are things that ego likes, your personal self. There are things it likes. It likes to be doted on by the right person at the right time. You hear me? It's very, very picky, isn't it? Everything has to be exactly right. But it likes different interactions. It likes different kinds of things. And they feed the ego. They feed it from outside, and it gets stronger. Anything that turns you on, you will want to do again. If you liked it, it wants to do it again. Why? Because you're trying to get high. I told you that. Both methodologies are trying to get high. But one is doing it through the outside, which doesn't work. Temporarily it does for a moment, but it always ends up crashing and burning in the end. Or one is doing it inside by continuously, gradually releasing, constantly working with yourself, raising yourself. Always energy's going up instead of out, right? You're bringing it up, you're letting it go up, and you're doing what you need to do to let go of yourself. Those are two totally different paths, and very few people are wise enough or sincere enough to truly walk that second path. They'll play around with it, which is good. Anything you do to let go of yourself. But if you're sitting there letting go of yourself in one area and then feeding the ego in the other, it doesn't take much to feed your ego. Just have somebody walk up and compliment you. You want to be with them. All right? It's not hard to feed the ego. It's not hard to let it connect with things and do things. But if you do that, it stays alive. It stays alive. You're feeding it. Anything you feed will have the energy and stay alive. So the wisdom is not renunciation. It's not denial. To me, the difference is if you chose the second path and you know that what you're trying to do is get a permanent high and then higher than that, so therefore that's the purpose. How do I explain it to you? A Olympian who's spending, they spend 4 to 6 years killing themselves, they are not renouncing anything. They are doing exactly what they want to do. It's what they want. It's directed themselves in the area they want to go. The fact that it's hard doesn't make any difference. The fact that they gave up this or don't do that, it's not giving up. They're sitting here saying, there's higher ways I want to use that energy. Therefore, I'm not renouncing. I'm channeling. I'm rechanneling. Do you see the difference? If you think you're renouncing, you're doing it wrong. Because what you're saying when you're renouncing is, that's what I want, but I'm not going to do it. I don't want you to do that. That's ridiculous. That's suppression. But if you sit there and say, I really don't want to run on the wheel anymore. I didn't renounce running on the wheel when I jumped off, even though I don't know where I'm going. It doesn't take me anywhere. So I'm wise enough to see that it's not what I want. Then you're not renouncing, you're rechanneling. You're redirecting your energies in a direction that you feel will take you where you want to go. All right? Don't ever want you to feel like you're renouncing. You're a very high being. Period. Right? You in there, high, you in there, high. You're a very high being. You're hanging out with something that's not so high. This human thing's a problem, isn't it? It's tough to carry that baggage around. It's got problems. It has needs and it wants stuff and so on, right? You choose. Do you want to use the time between your birth and your death to appease the little beast so that it can have nice little moments and have a little nice Friday night or this or that and do a little thing, right? And then worry about what it's going to do the rest of the time, all right? Or do you want to do something very meaningful with your life? You want to do something meaningful with your life? What? Grow. Evolve. Become great. Let go of the lower part of your being that is holding you down so that you go up. Instead of appeasing, that's a good word, instead of feeding it, the ego is the hungriest thing. There's never been an animal ever created, right, that is as hungry as the ego. No matter what you give it, it wants more. Nothing will ever satisfy the ego. Never has, never will. People that have the most power want more. Somebody who was number one on Forbes, the biggest billionaire in the world, feels bad when they become number two. Don't you dare think, well, I still got my billions. That's not what they think. They think I lost, right? Ego is a terrible thing to hang out with and to devote your life to. Why can't it be satisfied? Why can't ego be satisfied? Ready? Ego is your self-concept. It is a false psychological entity. It is a mental formation that you created and said, this is what I am, and this is what I like, and this is who I like, and this is who I don't like, and this is what I like to do, and this is what I don't like to do. And then you defined yourself as that. That's not who you are. You're the one who's noticing that. You do notice you do that, don't you? All right? You're the self, the consciousness. Only returning to self can bring about a sense of wholeness, a sense of reality. Otherwise, you're putting a mask on and trying to have people like it and then wonder why you don't feel fulfilled when they like your mask. Because they didn't even see you. You understand that? They're holding up your mask. So the entire game of ego is to develop a self-concept and then try to have it supported. And so you will like people who support you. You will not like people who don't support you. You will like things that fit your self-concept. You're feeding the beast. It will never end. Why? Because it's not real. It knows it's not real. It's fake. It made itself up. No matter how good you are at your job, or let's say you're an actress or an actor and you did great, you're still concerned about the next role because you could fail. Let's say you're with your friends and then you meet somebody new. Well, your friends like you, but maybe that person won't like you. What if they don't like you, but your friends like them? And, all right, the entire scene is about ego. It's about being comfortable and sharing and expressing yourself. Expressing what? Expressing this thing that you made up and then trying to feel comfortable with it. It's all, in yoga terms, it's third chakra. The entire interaction of your social being, of your personal ego being with the outside world, if you're buying into trying to make that be comfortable to you, you're feeding the ego. It will want more. It will never not want more. Do you understand that? It just draws you from one place to the next place to the next place. It just doesn't stop. The ego will never be satisfied. So if you're living off that energy, that's the first way of life. That's just basically saying, I need things to be a certain way in order for me to be okay. The second way doesn't renounce. It says, I want my energy to go up. I want my energy to go up. Goes up. What does goes up mean? Constant waves of ecstasy and bliss, right? That's who you are. That's your state. Okay, that's where you live. That's worth going for, isn't it? All right? You don't have to do a single thing. It doesn't cost $1. And your whole entire being is high, feeling ecstasy all the time and joy all the time and love all the time. How'd you like to be around somebody who felt joy, ecstasy, and love all the time? Ooh, that's nice energy. It raises everybody. It raises everything. So what am I talking about? The same thing I started. You have this time between your birth and your death. Have you stopped for a moment to ask what you want to do with it? Or are you just running around to get a rush and have a thing and feel a little bit better and release some energy? Do you understand that? Which is what everybody's doing, so don't feel bad. All right? I'm all pent up. I feel all pent up. I got all this tension inside. I need to release it. I need to do something. I feel so sorry for you. Why? Because releasing it does nothing to stop it from penting right back up again the moment the situation happens again. There's a constant state of need. There's a constant state of having to work with yourself. If you work with letting go of what's making you blocked, over time, the energy goes up and you will never feel tension again. You'll never feel anxiety again. You'll never feel lonely again. Not that you have to do anything about it. You'll never feel it again. It goes away. Those things are caused because you've blocked your energy flow. A wise person is centered and clear. That's what that means. And is always using life to let go of themselves. Always using life at work and relationships with finances. Every single thing. Let go of what's blocking you. Let go of what comes up. Let go of yourself. Go for the higher path, which is, I'm here every minute of every day, to let go of what's blocking me from the high that I'm capable of. Just start living that, and wait till you see what happens. Jai Guru.